Hello everybody, welcome back to another For Honor video. The wars then just happened today, a couple hours ago, so I'm going to be going over all the details with you. So, the new hero, JUREN, see I'm pronouncing it correctly this time, thank you to the lovely viewer in my teaser video for correcting me on the pronunciation of it. I was saying JUREN when it's actually JUREN, so thank you for that. From what they have told us, this character is a heavy, but he kind of plays a little like a hybrid, I feel. As I predicted, he betrayed both General Zhe and Prince Yi, and I'm gonna go over this again, but thank you to the lovely viewer for correcting me, because he is actually based on the Three Kingdoms literature, not mythology. I don't know where my brain came up with the mythology, but here we are. They've decided to go with his more dynasty warrior kind of look, where he looks more like a villain and less historically accurate, which is fine, this is a video game. The games don't need to be historically accurate all the time. Gonna also be giving my thoughts, and at the very end, I will be bringing a friend on board, and we will discuss the potential balancing of the character, how they're gonna play in the new meta. Okay, so first thing that we're gonna be covering is obviously the character's moveset and their feats, so let's get right into that. Now, obviously, I'm not going to bore you with the entire moveset, because the devs did explain it fully on the Warriors Den, but I'm gonna try and explain it in a way that's more digestible for you. Basically, they've introduced a new style of inputting moves. You can either tap or you can hold the moves. Tapping and holding will do different things depending on whether or not you're in your opener or your chains. There's different properties and different timings and speeds on every one of these attacks. If you do hold down any of the attacks, it immediately ends your chain, so you can't do anything like constantly spam pin heavies, for example. Now, I'm obviously not going to be going over every little detail about any of the moves, but I will go over the properties for all of them. So let's start off with the light attack. So let's start with the opener light. If you hold that down, you'll get hyper armor, and it'll be a wide sweeping attack. So you can hit people off of like heavy parries, or, you know, it's basically just a good self-peel tool. Now, obviously, because it's a move that you have to hold down to input, you cannot continue your chain, so keep that in mind. The chain lights are infinite, so you can just spam those to your heart's content, but obviously it's not going to be too effective. And then when you're holding down the chain light, you'll do a sweeping undodgeable attack, so it's kind of, you know, part of the orange-blue mix-up. You can catch people who are dodging, you can catch people in team fights, etc, etc. For the heavy attacks, if you hold down the heavy, you'll actually do a pin. The pin does have hyper armor, so you can use it to try and trade with people, but it's not unblockable, so it won't go through people's guards. Now, the chain heavies also infinitely chain, and they also do have hyper armor, so it's probably going to be pretty good to just poke people in team fights with. And, of course, if you hold down the input, JUREN will do a large sweeping unblockable. I do believe that can be feinted, so it could be pretty good unblockable offense. Next, we'll go over the zone attacks. The normal zone is, you know, pretty normal. You just sweep around you. But they've done something completely unique where they actually have if you hold down the zone, you'll do this like really slow unblockable zone, but it has hyper armor on startup, but it can't be feinted. So it's used as kind of a trading tool. It does a lot of damage, but you can't feint it. So it's pretty much just a move that you'll use on a read. Now, I'm not entirely sure if you can chain the zone or not. So if you go into your chain, I'm not aware if you can use the zone in chain or anything. And then we have the 4 dodge bash, which if you just tap it, it's just a normal legion kick. It gives you a light, pretty standard stuff, just a standard legion kick. See, now where it gets interesting is if you hold down the kick, it will actually do a longer version of your kick, and you basically use it to just catch people who are early dodging or who are dodging on the other bash timing. Now, that deals direct damage instead of guaranteeing you a light, so I think it's a pretty unique approach to it. We also do have bashes that are in chain, you know, from using your lights or your heavies. That one is pretty special because the tap one is actually a pin, and it has a unique interaction with Hatun that we saw on the dev stream, which I thought was pretty cool. And then when you hold down the bash in chain, it gives you a pretty, like, underwhelming move, I would say. I feel like it'll still be useful, but it basically, you do a shove that pushes your opponent into the wall. It's kind of like the kick, like that big sweeping kick from Virtuosa, where all it does is really wall splat. It's basically the same thing. It doesn't guarantee anything, and all it does is wall splat and or ledge. Now for the forward and side dodge attacks, they're pretty all standard. If you tap the dodge attack, you'll just do like a normal dodge attack. But if you hold it down, you'll basically do a Warmonger style dodge attack where you have insane amount of iframes, but you are insanely GB vulnerable. It'll probably deal normal heavy damage as expected, so that's one annoying tool that you'll have to deal with. For the forward dodges, you do have, you know, the normal forward dodge heavy, which you tap it, you do a normal dodge attack, but it has kind of similar to the old JJ heavy, you know, before he got reworked, except it's just unblockable. So you just have a really slow forward dodge heavy that's unblockable, and I believe it'll probably be feintable. I would expect it to be feintable. And then the second to last thing is we have unique GBs, which is, I think this is like the first time they've done something like this, but tapping the GB like normal, obviously will still guard break your opponent. You can throw them around, you can get your punishes, you can just, it's just a normal GB. But if you hold the GB input, you'll actually slam them on the ground, deal a little bit of damage, drag them away, and you'll also heal yourself a bit. So that's pretty much only used if you need like health advantage or something like that. It kind of like Goki Hug, but without, you know, having to wall splat somebody. I feel like it's a pretty unique approach to a new mechanic. And then last but not least, he actually has a full block technically. It's not like a traditional full block where you hold it down and if somebody attacks you, you get a punish. It's more like blocking. You're basically just blocking in all directions. So your opponent's attacks are enhanced, so you don't actually, you know, bounce off when you hit into JUREN's guard. Now, the most interesting part of this is that it can be done from a side dodge as well, meaning that you can avoid one of the most annoying ganks in the game, which is the orange-blue. For example, if you have a Nobu and a character with a bash, there's pretty much no counter to dealing with that, because if you dodge the bash, you eat the blue, and if you don't dodge the bash, you still eat the blue. You're obviously still guard break vulnerable when you're using the down stance, or whenever you're holding dodge to do it. But I feel like that's going to make him a very, very good staller. One thing that you may also not know, I don't believe it was covered in the Warriors Den, but you can technically use his all guard as a Wavedash of sorts. I do believe they mentioned on stream that you can get better recoveries by going into it, because obviously it's a full guard, but you can, I think you can dodge out of it, which means that we do have like a pseudo Wavedash going on. If you guys remember Conqueror in the testing grounds when he could dodge out of his full block, I believe it's going to be something similar to that. So that seems like it's going to be a little bit scary to try and deal with, but we'll just have to see how it plays out when he releases next week. And I think that about covers the moveset itself. So my personal thoughts, I think that it's going to be a little tricky to, you know, learn how he plays and how to fight against him. But I don't feel like he's going to be too oppressive. Definitely not anything like Virtuosa. He doesn't have anything that seems too overpowered. Like, he obviously doesn't have a stance that auto-dodges. I still think he suffers from modern Ubisoft heroes, where pretty much every character now is just bloated with so many different properties and moves just to try and one-up the previous hero. It makes old characters like Gladiator, Warlord, Nobushi, any character from year one pretty much feel like unrecognizable, like they're stuck in an older age of For Honor. Now, I do understand that it might be difficult for the devs to try and make a character that's gonna, you know, outlast the previous one, you know? But I feel like it's gone to a point where we're just giving characters pretty much every property just so they can, you know, keep up with everybody else. I might eventually make a video, like, going more in depth on this, but let me guys know what you think about that. And now with that we've got the moveset out of the way, let's move on to the feats. The feats, in my opinion, are either going to be the most clutch feats known to man, or they're going to be something that your teammate is going to use to troll you because they didn't like the fact that you played the character. JUREN's feats are pretty much all about, like, being a traitorous little goblin. Your tier 1 lets you murder your own minions to basically get health back, health and stamina. It's pretty much like body count, except better. Obviously, you're trading your own minion's life, so you can sustain yourself, so it won't be probably best in slot, because the whole point of going into the minion lane is to, you know, kill the enemy minions and not kill your own, so that you can control the point. But if you're in a pinch, it's obviously good to use. His tier 2 pretty much marks everybody on the map for death on your team, and if someone dies, you gain, I think it was like a 50 health shield? I'm not sure what the precise number is, but it is a decently sized shield. It's kind of similar to BP's first feat, I believe. This one's going to be very interesting. This one has less troll potential, because the only thing that happens is your teammates get marked on the map, so it can't be really used for trolling that much. But I can definitely see instances where it'd be really helpful, because you can use it when you see that your teammates are, you know, about to die, and you can just pop it. Like, you don't need to, like, actually coordinate with anybody. You can pretty much just look at their health, and if you know that they're gonna die, you can just pop it and get free shield. The tier 3 is also, like, actually kind of good. Like, it's probably gonna be the best in slot, for sure, because you don't even need to sabotage your own teammates to make it work. Your teammates just have to, you know, play the game normally and die. For every teammate on your team that dies, you will get a stacking buff. First, you'll get an attack buff, then you'll get a defense buff, and then finally you'll get lifesteal. So think of, you know, like Kyoshin when I think it was his tier 1 or tier 2, where you basically get lifesteal whenever you hit somebody. You'll get that if you have like 3 people on your team dead. But it's only when your teammates are dead. As soon as they come back to life, you will lose one of your buffs. Now, the tier 4 is something that is definitely going to be used by griefers on your team. The tier 4 is basically a map-wide fear itself that marks both your enemies and your teammates. It marks your teammates less, but it still marks them. So basically, they're going to take a lot more damage just so that you can get a buff. Now, obviously, your enemies will still also be debuffed, so that means you can deal more damage to them, but I can see this going very poorly in matchmaking if you are queued up with randoms. Now, for my full thoughts on all of the feats, I think that they're okay, but as I mentioned, I feel like there's going to be a lot of grief potential with these feats, and they're going to be run by toxic players who just want to sabotage their own team, either because they're just mad at something, or you did something to them in the previous match and now they're on your team. But I don't dislike them, actually. They're not overpowered like Virtuoso's tier 4 or anything. They're just going to be insanely annoying if you have a bad player on your team. But it is definitely like a unique spin on feats. It's like, in general, like, this character is just designed really well, and they've finally done the whole gimmick thing that they wanted to do like a couple years ago. Now that we have finished covering the feats, we are going to move on to the weapons and the armor. Just going to take a quick peek at them and give my thoughts, because if you don't know me, I really do love my fashion in For Honor. It's primarily the main reason why I play this game in the first place, so let's get to it. So first off, we're going to be covering the weapons. I do like the look of the weapons, though a lot of them seem a little bit samey, if you know what I mean. Like, I feel when we have a character, for example, Hidekiri, a lot of her axes do have different shapes, but it feels like with JUREN, his G kind of has the same general shape and doesn't stray from that. It just seems like a missed opportunity to have like an asymmetrical G, or one that's bigger than the other, or, you know, something different. But they all seem to share the same like crescent moon shape. And even with that, I'm not complaining. I do think the weapon looks really cool, and it's probably one of my favorite Chinese weapons. But overall, I'm a little disappointed that there's not a whole lot of variety with the blades. They have some good spears, and they have some good pommels, but it's just the blade itself that lacks a little bit of variety. Now we're going to cover his executions and his emotes. I absolutely love the whole, like, villain thing that they've got going with him. Like, he's just painfully evil. He's doing, like, anime-esque, like, JRPG evil villain laughs. Like, he's taunting you, he thinks you're not good enough. But with his executions, he's really stylish and really brutal with his attacks. I think that the animation and the sound team did a really good job on JUREN's emotes and executions this time around. I did like Virtuosa's, but I think this one just like hit with me a little bit harder. I think my personal favorites out of all of these has got to be the emote where he yells. And also that signature where he literally just goes and kicks the camera. Like, dude, that's awesome. And now we get to go to the juiciest part, the armor. I do like his fashion. I do like it quite a lot. It gives off that villain vibe. There's this armor set that you're seeing on screen right now that's scrolling by that reminds me of Shao Kahn, which I absolutely love. I do love me some Shao Kahn. As for the rest of it, I also enjoy it. There's the one that's going by right now, which has like a nice beard. We always love men with good beards. But the one problem out of all of these armor sets that I am seeing right now is I can't tell what the alternates actually do. From what I've seen, some of the alternates remove cape, they remove the, I don't know what to call it, but like the ribbons in his hair. And then for the later armor sets, I believe they're the later armor sets because they, you know, they look better. But you can remove the cape. But other than that, I legitimately cannot tell what the difference between the alternate arms and the normal arm. Maybe it's like color or material expression or something? Because if so, that would be a little lame. That's the main reason I had a gripe with Pirate, is that all of her alternates were pretty much just, here, you can change your color, or you can change the material. Plus, I also feel that he suffers from, you know, the most recent character syndrome, where Ubisoft only gives him 2 armor sets and several variations of those 2 armor sets. But the 2 variations look fairly similar to the point that there's really no fashion expression because you can tell that someone's just using this style of chest piece or the other one. I think it's been like that since Medjay. That's really my only gripe with the armors, is that I can't see what the alternates are, and I really don't like the 2 armor and variation system that they've been doing. Alright, now we've got everything covered with JUREN, so now it's time to get to the patch notes. The patch notes were actually a very juicy part. For starters, they took Virtuosa out back and shot her, like she is dead. People are still obviously going to play her, but she's not nearly as cheesy as she was. She still has her auto dodge thing, but now every time she goes into her stance, it actually drains stamina for her to remain in the stance. So that means that she can't just camp in the stance and wait for you to do something. She actually has, you know, she's time sensitive. She has to actually play the game. And combine that with the fact that they nerfed all of her heavies from her stance, so now she has more GB vulnerability. So that means that not only is she time sensitive, she also can't throw out a heavy if she thinks that you're going to do something. Now this doesn't fully solve the problem because you can still do lights, but it's at least a step in the right direction. Next one is a very big change for all you Kensei players out there. His Helm Splitter, which is the forward dodge light, is now enhanced just like it is on Griffin. So obviously, if you play Kensei, you know that this is a really good change. A lot of people have been asking for this. It makes Kensei's forward dodge mix-up actually kind of good, because now you have to either parry the light or deal with the consequences of your actions and deal with the unblockable mix, which is really scary, especially if you are up against the wall. They also gave him some other changes. I believe it was, you know, giving more range on the pommel strike and also having more range on the heavy openers, which, you know, it's a change. It doesn't really, I feel like it won't matter too much. We'll just have to see. And then we get to our third change, which is actually for Ocelotl and Griffin. So after you get your kick, which is, you know, your in-chain bash after, you know, X amount of moves or whatever, you can actually do a zone off of that now, instead of going for the follow-up heavy. Basically, it's another way to self-peel for yourself when you're in a team fight or you're in an anti-gank, so it'll be pretty helpful. Next, we have Ocelotl. So Ocelotl actually got a buff to his Hunter stance. That's his down stance. It's actually Hyper Armor. You get Hyper Armor on it, 100 MS, and I feel like that's been long overdue. Now all they need to do is either make it unblockable or, you know, at this point, make it feintable something, because it's basically only going to be used as like a trading tool now. They also nerfed his first feat, so it's on a cooldown now. I personally never had any issue with it, but we'll just have to see how it plays out in the live game. I'm sure it'll feel a little bit better that you don't have to be constantly worried about where Ocelotl is at any given time. Overall, it's just good changes for all those characters. And last but not least, we have 3 changes. We have Valkyrie, we have Shaolin, and we have Warmonger. Now, you know me, I'm a Warmonger main, and I'm currently in the middle of making my guide, so this change has kind of screwed up my whole jive. They've made it so her light, after she gets like an uncharged bash, or just any bash really, you can chain after it, which means that you can do a finisher light, or you can do a finisher heavy. That is a really good buff. It makes Warmonger a little more scary, but it kind of feels weird to have Warmonger have a vortex now. They've basically also made it harder for her to, just light spam you over and over again after the bashes, which, was a little annoying, so I don't blame them. Valkyrie's buff is also pretty nice. Your bash actually goes further now, so you'll have, less chances to just whiff. It, more range on things that are easily whiffable it's never a bad change. And last but not least, for the patch notes, they have nerfed Shaolin's tier 2, which is the teleport kick. If you fought a Shaolin, you know that move is so painful to try and dodge that there's basically no point to even trying to do it, because it feels so impossible. And they revealed on the Den that you had to dodge, like you had to dodge 466 MS, which is unreactable, by the way. So you have to basically read that Shaolin was going to use that. So now they've upped it to 566, so it should be, at least dodgeable. Let's hope. And, that is all of the patch notes. So, now that we're done with the patch notes, we're going to go to my final segment, where I'm going to be talking to my good old friend Wavedash Soul, or Duma, and we're going to be talking about the character's balance, and how we'll think that they're going to perform in 1v1s, 4v4s, etc. So, let's get to that segment. Welcome, Duma. Welcome onto the video.
Thank you for having me, Cloaker.
Yep.
I'm alright. It's 6 a.m. right now, so
I mean, it's almost
okay.
1 for me, so I mean, I'm a little high right now, so this is gonna be a great conversation. Okay. So you went over the notes, right?
Yeah, I gave a quick look at them. Yeah.
So how are we feeling about like the character in general? Because I feel like he's going to be fine. I don't see anything like too outrageous, and any of the things that do seem outrageous, they seem to have planned ahead and fixed that ahead of time.
For the most part, yeah.
Like how they made the hold zone 100 MS hyper armor startup, and it's unblockable. But I feel like they put low damage on it. Not like too low, but it's like, not high damage, and they also made it so it's not
Sohei zone.
Yeah.
Like,
best part about it is it's not faintable. So if they throw it, you can parry it. Sure.
Yeah, but I also don't like it when a character has options that just force me to feint to neutral all the time.
Yeah.
Like, more than others. It's like old Lawbringer dodge soft before the nerf, or conk dodge attack now. Like,
yeah,
I'd rather not have to deal with. I'd rather not just have to feint to neutral all the time. And maybe that's something that could be addressed in future. Like, I don't know. Maybe they could give it more GB Vuln, like Sohei Zone, but
yeah.
Again, most of what I'm saying right now is hypothetical. I need to see the character in action.
Yeah,
more
we need
and
to
play them myself before I make any big decisions or come to any conclusions about actions that need to be taken regarding the new heroes balance.
Yeah, I said it a lot in the video. A lot of the things that I am skeptical about, or I think aren't going to be very strong, I always added a comment of we'll just have to see when the character comes out, because a lot of these things on paper seem really ridiculous, but in practice we don't know until we actually get to see it. The main problem I have is I don't want to play with randoms with those feats.
Oh god, I was gonna say that actually.
Especially the tier 4.
The randoms.
See, the thing is, it's kind of a good thing they put it on the tier 4, because if your teammates are already that mad anyway, they might not even get their tier 4 to troll you.
I feel like in this day and age, they'll probably just leave.
That's one
You know
way.
what I mean?
That's one way of doing it.
Which, hey, that's probably more in character than actually staying and playing the game.
Yeah, the I feel like the tier two can be. I feel like the tier two is going to be a little silly for sabotaging your team because you're basically marking them on the map, so the enemy can see where you're rotating to, or anything like that, which I think is
Yeah.
that's
Although,
just
to be
free
fair,
information.
I mean, if you're fighting a stack, which is not too uncommon these days, they're going to be on comms asking for head counts anyways, so I don't know. And if they're not in a stack, well, what are they going to do with that information, you know? I don't think it's that important because randoms don't have the coordination to team fight properly. I don't know. I don't think it's that big of an issue.
I feel like that's fair. I feel like the 1v1 potential. I'm really wondering how overwhelming that's going to be to try and fight.
Eh,
It's not like too complicated, but it's just the at least for me, maybe other people like me as well, but I have to think about like all of these different options, and it used to be simpler because there's not like two different moves for every button press now. But now it's like, does he do the press, or does he do the hold, or does he like
mm,
press the bash or hold the bash? Like it reminds me of rework Orochi when you make a wrong read, it feels like you have to make 10 others. And I'm hoping it's not going to be something like that.
what, like on the kick or?
Well, yeah, because I think his in chain bash, which is it's a pin, it also goes back into his chain, so he can theoretically infinitely bash you. I don't think that's any like it's not viable, but there's just like it's just all the moves in general. I'm like overthinking it, and
What the? Sorry about that.
oh good. Yeah, it's like I overthink it or anything. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like in 1v1s he might be a little much to deal with if you're not 100% focused.
Well, I mean, that can kind of happen with most characters if you're not
I mean,
100% focused, you know?
I mean, yeah,
It's a
but
fighting game. You probably should be paying more than 50% attention at any given time.
yeah, but
You know, at
it's like
least
the
67% attention at any one moment.
I just don't want it to be like characters like PK where if you make one wrong read, you didn't lock in hard enough, you eat
You die.
you don't even like eat a damage amount, you just die. There's no coming back.
Yeah, literally, like if you're like not locked in fighting Nobu or something, and just like, it's 6 a.m. can't be asked to react. You make one wrong read, boom, there goes 35 damage.
Just dead. Gone.
You're just dead on the floor. Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think Lububu is gonna be. I don't think he's gonna be too problematic.
Yeah, and
There's a couple
we'll
things
just have to
I
see.
like, and I like. I like the design process that they went through with him. I like that Ubi gave us the sort of philosophy behind how they design heroes, and I think this is an interesting evolution on things like stances.
Yeah.
And I want to see this concept more developed. I think it could give the For Honor roster, if it was applied more, I think it could give the For Honor roster a lot more character depth, which is something I noticed after playing Tekken 8, is that For Honor characters are all fundamentally extremely simple in terms
Yes.
of their moveset.
For
And I
sure.
want to see more, I want to see further moveset depth. Not quite Tekken moveset depth, because I mean, I've only started playing Tekken and I've only really looked at the moveset of one character. But she had 134 moves in her moveset. Whereas, what's the average moveset of a character in For Honor? Like,
I don't maybe
if I look at the
moves in like
moveset,
the
like
tens, maybe.
10, 15, and you got some characters on the butt end of that, like Warlord, who may barely
I
have 10 moves.
I was just about to bring that up as well. So, do do we just think that because to us, our simple For Honor minds, at least other people, I've played fighting games as well, but the character, like these new characters that come out, they seem to have like property bloat, is what people would call it, and I think that's
Yeah,
purely just because they aren't used to actual fighting games, and all the other characters, like I like when we had Kyoshin and all those other characters, like Medjay and everything, that there was
hmm
basically no depth to any characters. They'd have like a unique gimmick, and that was it. And they would have just different properties and speeds and animations on their stuff.
yeah.
But
I
then
mean,
they started making characters like Virtuosa, as much as she's hated. They came up with something different.
I do have to commend Yubi for they're taking a. I don't like to praise Yubi too much, but I have to commend them for the creative direction they've been taking with the concepts of their heroes. And I think Sohei was just the turning point, in my opinion, for more creative hero design.
Yeah,
Because
I
before
agree.
Sohei, we had how many characters were just like orange blue slop or like
Orange blue slop with a shitty
dodge
Legion's kick.
recovery or
Yeah, shitty
yeah, and then
Legion's
Legion
kick.
kick.
A 4 dodge heavy that was unfaintable.
Yeah, like how many characters got reworked into that or just like a faintable bash basically. Like I mean, if we look through the cast, there's like what
You could even technically
one,
count
two,
Afira
three.
in the blue orange mix up.
Oh no, she's absolutely orange blue slop. One, I'm looking through all the characters now. There's one, two, three, um, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. There's 11 characters that have orange blue as far as 12 if you count Warlord. But like, that's a lot of characters.
Yeah,
Like a third of the moves, like a third of the roster has the same exact mix-up
I feel
in
like
some way, shape, or form.
the only characters that they made in that era that could hold a candle to any of the characters like nowadays is like Nusha and BP. Because sure they had like basic like move sets, they had like a unique gimmick
They
that
had
was
a unique gimmick,
like
yeah.
genuinely unique. It's not
I think
like
Shaman as well, then.
um
I think Shaman has a unique enough gimmick,
yeah, I feel
personally.
like, but it feels like it's just kind of like a
I
pin.
think
It feels similar to
that's fair, but I mean, considering how old Shaman was, she definitely stood out for a while as a more unique pick,
yeah.
alongside things like Pryor and Nusha, because like, I mean, I still can't fight Nusha. I still can't fight her. What, 5,000 hours? I still can't fight this character. Because of how just she subverts everything you know about the game.
Yeah, because you have to unlearn how to block essentially.
Yeah, basically you have to kick the habit of blocking, CCing, deflecting, all of that. You know,
We're
embrace your inner TikToker and just start emoting on the trap. Like,
a little back on topic here. Um,
mhm,
I also mentioned it in the video, but I loved like the super villain like personality that they gave him. Like he's painfully evil. He's like Shao Kahn levels of evil.
mm,
He's even got like the spiky helmets and everything. That one emote where he like roars is actually crazy.
yeah, that's some video game phase 2 boss shit.
hmm I think they purposely did that instead of just making they based him off of, I think it was Dynasty Warriors. They based
Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Which iteration was it?
I think it was Kings, but it's
It was
Lubu
three. It was the
from
Three Kingdoms period. That's where Lubu comes from. He comes from the
no
Romance of the
like
Three Kingdoms.
so yeah, there's that
Wait,
piece
hang
of
on.
literature, but I'm talking about
Yeah.
like the games, like the Dynasty Warrior games, because Lubu's in that.
Okay.
Like same thing with Guan Yu. And if you look at his design in that, it's kind of similar to what we have with JUREN. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
they based it, like they purposely made it
Although,
so
oh no,
he's
it's
more
I see
exaggerated.
it. I see it.
Yeah.
Uh, Dynasty Warriors Lubu. Yeah, it's really similar.
Yeah.
It's in the face. I can see it a lot in the face.
Yeah, I feel like they took design inspirations from that and the actual Lubu from history, because the weapon's different obviously in Dynasty Warriors. But they wanted to give
It's a
him
bit more
that like
fantastical.
that constantly angry looking villain, and then they just like scaled him up to be taller because Jiren means giant in Mandarin.
Yeah.
So he's meant to be like big, imposing, like he's the heavy, he's got a long weapon, he's like pretty strong. It kind of reminds me of Sohei in a way. They're kind of the same like character archetype, just in different contexts.
Ish. I mean, I kind of see it. I
Well, I'm
don't
saying
know if I could classify the Sohei as evil anarchists,
well, yeah.
but
Well, I'm meaning like in design, big guy with like a spear
pole
type
arm.
weapon, yeah, with a pole
Yeah.
arm, that are like, trying to show off their strength and all that and boasting about
Mm-hmm.
it. There, just one of them is, I think, a morally gray character, and the other one is just straight up super villain, super villain levels.
Mm. Well, debatable, but I'm not gonna get into that. Mm.
Anyway, what else?
Yeah, no.
Probably the fashion. I think I mentioned it. The Shao Kahn helmet. There's that. That one's also pretty cool. But I feel like the character struggles a bit with lack of armors. I think every character since
That's a new
Medjay.
character problem.
Yeah, every character since Medjay has only had 2 armor sets, and then they have a ton of variations. But like as of late, I feel like a lot of the armor variations just aren't, or the armor variations just aren't good enough. Because like I think a good one is Sohei. He's got like 2 different styles, which is nice, but the alternates don't really change anything at all. We had Hatun, which she had 2 different armor sets, obviously, but they I don't know, they just don't stand out. They look too similar.
Mm, yeah, I kind of agree with that. With Sohei, like I feel like he generally tends to look quite unique. Like there's a lot of different looks you can go for with Sohei because there's enough variation in, say, his different helmets or different chest pieces that
Yeah, they
you can
always go
distinguish. You can make
wild.
two distinct things.
They always go wild on the helmets, but when they're making the 2 armor sets, they either look kind of similar or they're like completely different from each other, but you don't really see any variation outside of that because there's only 2 armor sets. The whole reason why characters like Warden or Lawbringer, people say they have good fashion, is because there's a lot of options to choose from. So one guy is
Hmm.
not gonna look similar to another guy unless it's on purpose. But with like characters like Sohei, or in this instance, Jiren, you might actually run into another Jiren who kind of looks similar to you, because
Yeah, I see that all the time with VGs. They
yeah,
all look really similar.
VG is definitely one that
And
I can see
Verts, I
that.
feel like as well.
Yeah,
I feel like I see a lot of the same two Vert designs.
because there's really nothing else. All it is just like a they change the color distribution, they change the materials it's made out of.
Hmm.
It's like it looks different, but it's still that one other armor set. So everyone, so I think I know what it is. It's their shape stays the same. Is what?
Yeah, it doesn't. There's a lot you can do to making character recognizable with just a silhouette. I mean, I think the best example of this would be TF2.
Hmm.
Is TF2 is just the character silhouettes are so recognizable. I mean, and that's a sign of, well, I mean, that's a sign of strong character design for one. But if you alter the silhouette a little bit, it would be, I would wager it would be rather unrecognizable. So I want to see more of that with these new characters. I mean, I think if we take for an old example, let's take Griffin because he's probably the best when it comes to altering his silhouette. You can make him into a million different things, and
Yep.
I get that's kind of his gimmick in a way, but I would like to see a bit more. Yeah, it would be nice to see more aesthetic variation in new characters. I get that budget's tight and that Ubisoft isn't doing so well right now, but we can still ask for it, I think.
I feel like it'll come eventually.
Hopefully. I mean, they had been working on it for a while, but they kind of stopped, if memory serves. Like they gave Lander a new armor variation, and
Oh yeah, they
who else
gave
was it?
one
Did
to
they
Shinobi and Vlad.
Shinbob, yeah, and Glad, yeah, and
Shaman did
yeah, it
not
was
get
those
one.
guys. Shaman never got one,
She actually did. She just got it like a long time ago.
but oh, yeah, she never got one recently, is what I mean. Like
Yeah, well, that was them fulfilling their promise to give the year three heroes armor or whatever extra year
year
one
one,
heroes. Yeah, the year one heroes. Their third variation, I think it was
third or fourth.
third
I
or
want to
fourth.
say, I think it's fourth.
Yeah, they
Which again,
did end up giving it to Shaman. They just never completed it. So that was them completing it and actually releasing new armor,
yeah. Mm.
which I think they definitely need to do something like that.
Yeah, they have been really gradually, like slowly, just reducing the amount of armor sets.
Yeah, the
It's not as
having to
fun.
wait like several
Having to
seasons.
wait an entire year for your character to get a new armor set now
Yeah,
is
and
not
it
nice.
might not even be good because they use the same like armor
Because they're
set
just
over and over again.
reusing. Yeah, I want to see like on Highlander. There's the Baylor helmet, right? It's the
Hmm.
one where he's ginger and half his face is painted. And he's got the thick beard.
Yep,
I want to see a reskin of that helmet, but I don't think we ever will
probably not.
because let's be honest, I don't know why Ubisoft loves to reskin like the bowl cut or the basically any of the ones where he has a bandana.
I
I
don't.
think that's what they're called. The ones where he has like a long braid at the
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
That sort of style. They love to remix that one where he always has those fuck ass mutton chops or whatever the hell they're like the Victorian bartender beard. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Do you have any other thoughts, notes, anything?
No, honestly, I just want to. I'm just waiting to see the new character and see how they're gonna fit into the current For Honor climate. I don't think there's anything more I can say without actually having tested the hero for myself. So maybe
I
I'll maybe I'll be back when they release.
maybe I personally think that I think he's going to be actually like really fun in fours. I was watching the actual gameplay, the little scrim that they did on the stream,
Hmm.
and he seems like he's like not that bad in fours. Like he's not virtuoso level. He's not VG level. I
Then
feel like
again, that's being shown off by good players and good players.
yeah,
Like They did not invite any. They weren't exactly inviting randoms to showcase the character. You know, like I saw Blitz, I saw Bean. Fuck, who else did I see? Like
Norgaz?
Norgaz, like
Flippy was there.
Havoc and Wex aren't good either. Sorry, aren't bad players either. Like
Yeah, I get what you
showing
mean.
what can be done to and against like a good player. And I do think that this character is going to be a lot more insufferable with teammates who have worse judgment.
Yeah, I can definitely see that happening.
The randoms are gonna absolutely, oh god.
Yeah, I can't wait for your own
I just hope
teammates
his
to
alternate. I
kill
just hope
you.
his alternate feats aren't so selfish,
Yeah, I think one
or at least
of
so, or at least so detrimental to your team. You know.
yeah, like in his first feat he has bounty hunter. I know that they said it on stream. So
Oh, that's good.
that's at least like not murdering your own minions.
Clearing mid for the enemy, like
That is like it's cinema. Just you're
good god.
you're clearing mid with your enemy, but on the wrong side.
Yeah, like I hate to see some random like rally the enemy team by clearing minion lane because he wants to heal instead of just like doing the freeze play, as I'm gonna call it,
Yes, correct. You are going to kill yourself.
or just rotating to the point and healing. Like,
Yeah, it's going to get pretty late here. I'd rather start rendering the video sooner rather than later.
all
Uh,
right,
thank you for coming on, Duma, of course.
thank you for having me, Cloaker.
And just want to give big shout out to the For Honor devs specifically. Not like Ubisoft itself, but the For Honor team is very passionate about the game. I can very clearly tell. There would not even be a year 10 happening if they weren't in it for the love of the game, you know? And you know, all the animation teams, sound design teams, they've done an amazing job. And let's hope this time it's the character is not a monstrosity of nature in 4v4s. Let's hope that
Mm,
they don't have a bug that breaks everything.
I hope so.
Yep. And
It would.
hope you guys enjoyed the video. And see you guys next time. Bye bye.